Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to the first ever SGA debate. And tonight you're going to be able to meet some of the candidates that are running for the Executive Vice President, the Public Relations Vice President, Student Affairs Vice President, and the Academic Vice President. Tonight they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves, a little bit about their platform, and we're going to get to ask some questions from the current vice presidents as well as the audience. The audience is able to send in questions that they have that they want the vice presidential candidates to answer. So up here I have the executive vice president candidates, and they are going to introduce themselves a little bit and tell you about themselves. So Malcolm, why don't you start?
Thank you. So my name is Malcolm Virgil. I'm a sophomore at the University of Hartford, majoring in cinema and communications. I'm a dual major. I'm currently serving as academic vice president on SGA's e-board, and I look forward to next coming year.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your platform?
Well, my platform's pretty simple. I didn't really prepare a whole much to say today. It's basically we have a few really key issues that we need to address here at UHeart. One is communication, and the other support. As students, we need to support each other and make sure that we connect each other through all of our endeavors, whether that's club sports, Greek life, anything else. We should know what each other needs, and we support each other with those wants. So.
And what past experience have you had that you feel makes you perfect for this position?
Well, I'm a member of a lot of different clubs. As you guys all know, you guys have definitely seen me around campus. So I'm definitely here to listen for student concerns. You see me, you know I'm a voice that you guys can approach for any issues that you have, as well as just in general. This year on eBoard, I've had to figure out how to adjust to being a student leader on this campus. And that's really cool. It's a really cool challenge to have. You know, it's been really rewarding when you see things go right, when someone comes up to you with a suggestion and you make that thing happen. It's really definitely something I want to do for the clubs next year. So.
Thank you.
Hi guys, thank you all for tuning in and watching the debate. My name is Ivana. I am currently a sophomore here at the University of Hartford. I am a double major in chemistry and politics and government with a newly declared minor in environmental studies. I am originally from Georgetown, Guyana, and moved to the US about 10 years ago. Currently living in Worcester, Massachusetts, and next year will be my third year as an active member in the Student Government Association, and if elected as Executive Vice President, will be my first year serving on the e-board.
Thank you. Next.
Her platform?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, why don't you tell us a little bit about your platform?
Okay, so I actually put a lot of thought into this platform, and as EVP, one of the main things that is done is that you work with all the clubs on campus. I am involved in a couple different areas on campus, the first being I'm currently the treasurer and next president of Women Against Rape and Sexual Assault, known as WARS. I'm also a member of the Women's Ultimate Team. I am a TA and I tutor. So what I did was I actually reached out and emailed all the clubs on campus, kind of asking what we as the Student Government Association can do for you. And got a lot of feedback, and one of the main things that was said is that clubs don't feel as though the student government really supports them. And for me, that was very troubling to hear, just because we are here for the students. We are here to support you, help you through anything. And as a result of that, I came up with the idea of next year of having Club of the Week. There are so many clubs on this campus that do absolutely amazing things and really need to be recognized by the student government. Along with that, a main thing I've realized as an issue from serving on e-boards is that the transition between the old e-board and the current e-board can be kind of difficult. So really just having a sit down with clubs, whether it's in person, whether it's electronic, but just really formulating a formal document of what's going to happen between each of the e-board member. And the last main thing on my platform is that I am totally an environmental freak, and this campus is just not environmentally friendly. So working with my current environmental policy class, I plan to actually educate first years upperclassmen that there is a recycling dumpster and there is a trash dumpster. There's a big difference. Also the plastic, mainly in Hawks Nest, having plastic containers, plastic bags, plastic straws, just drives me kind of insane. So I'd really like, and I've already talked to President Woodward about implementing more environmentally friendly policies on campus.
Thank you, Ivana. Alex?
Hello, I'm Alexander Toth, and I'm running for the Executive Vice President position. I'm an architect, and I'm enrolled as a sophomore at the University of Hartford. I'm currently the associate to the executive vice president, allowing me to fully understand the responsibility and time commitment needed to succeed in this position. I have been involved with ethics, philanthropy, constitution, and lastly, executive committee. Through executive committee, we were trying to better the food on campus with a petition for our mark. By doing so, I was able to receive over 400 signatures from the student body. This shows I was able to communicate. Excuse me. This shows I was able to actively communicate with the student body and address the concerns of our community. Also, by continually communicating with clubs through monthly reports, I have noticed there are some requiring issues throughout the clubs, and there is room for improvement. Some changes I would like to propose on campus include having a spring semester club fair and encouraging clubs to involve students more on campus. I believe clubs can be inspired to reach out to new members by initiating a competition throughout the university. I say this because it is a recurring trend. Clubs are losing members throughout the spring semester, and many students are unaware of the 120 clubs the university provides. The goal of these changes is to influence the student body into getting more involved on campus and raise awareness of clubs. Despite being involved, I don't spread myself too thin. Therefore, I can fully commit my time to this position and the campus community. Having an understanding of what it's like to be the executive vice president's associate and as a member in philanthropy and previous member in ethics committee will help me succeed in being the best candidate for the executive vice president position. It is important for the students to be unified together and be able to speak in what they believe in, and I aspire to be that voice.
Thank you, guys. So next, I'm going to ask you a question that I feel was something that is very different about being the executive vice president. So Malcolm, you're going to start. My question to you is, as you know, being the executive vice president, I am the upholder of the Constitution. So if I see something that is wrong, I need to say something. So let's pretend that you were in a situation where you saw somebody doing something blatantly against the Constitution. They weren't filling out monthly reports, they weren't in Senate, things like that. And this was a really close friend of yours. How would you handle this?
Especially if it's a close friend of mine, I'd definitely speak out. Even if it wasn't a friend of mine, I'm from New Jersey. I have no problem raising my voice and being outspoken, and especially when there's something that I feel really passionate about in this campus community is something I definitely feel really passionate about. Really also, I want to see a lot of changes within SGA. I want to be more visible to the students. So I feel as though if a senator or anybody's not following their constitutional responsibilities, they owe it to the students to change their ways. So I would speak out, and I definitely would make sure that whatever the issue was handled in a way that was really polite, and also that doesn't embarrass them, and they can use that as a learning experience. So that's how I would handle that.
Great. Ivana,
Can you please repeat?
I actually have another question for you.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so again, being the executive vice president, you have, like Alex mentioned, it's a very big time commitment. You have a lot of spreadsheets to constantly update. You have a lot of emails to constantly reply to. You have to reply in a timely manner. Everything needs to be, again, everything is very urgent, right? So you need to be on top of things. Being in everyone at SGA is very involved on campus. So being so involved, how would you, if you were to get the position, how would you handle all of that?
Okay. So this year, I took on a few more responsibilities than I did last year. I've just been trying as I move on to just kind of stack on more. And I realized this year through being an RA, it is a very difficult job, but the big part of it is time management. And one of the main things we have to do is communicate with our residents, communicate with our boss, communicate with everyone. And if you encounter an incident, it has to be reported immediately. So I've learned how to properly shift around my commitments. So yes, at every given moment, we're all students, we all have a bunch of different things to do. However, this year I was involved, as I said, I'm an RA, I'm the chair of ethics, And there are a lot of emails coming my way. There's a lot of people asking things. And at times, it does get overwhelming, but I've learned that time management and really just taking things one step at a time, and that understanding I can't get everything done at once, but making a to-do list. And even if a project or an assignment or something being asked of me as the EVP cannot be completed right away, at least notifying that person that there's been a delay, there's something happening, but I am able to manage myself well. Like I said, I'm a double major with 2 minors. I work a couple jobs, I'm involved, and I've learned that really putting aside time and not spreading myself thin allows me to get back to people in a timely manner.
Great, thank you. Alex, so as you know, we handle, as the Executive Vice President, we handle a lot of clubs. We have about 115 active clubs on campus. And a lot of the times, many of them don't do what they're supposed to, whether that's not handing in monthly reports, not, not abiding by their own constitution. If there was an instance where a club came to you, a club president came to you saying that they felt as though a couple of their members or one of their members wasn't fulfilling the Constitution, wasn't abiding by it, and they didn't know how to approach it, that is part of your position to help them in this. But say you had to send the person to ethics, how would you handle this?
I will handle the situation by first contacting that person who is not fulfilling their position. I want to make sure that they're not having any family problems or something going through their life, like a tough time. Like everyone has those bad days. So I want to see if there's any communication. What I'm trying to say is communication is such a key to students and the campus itself. So I will first communicate with that person, see what the problem is, see if I can help them in any other way, because I would love them to still fulfill that position if they can, if they're just hit a little bump in the road. But if they can't fulfill their position because they're being reckless or just don't care about the club anymore, I'll either send them to ethics or address it myself. And
Great. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to the SGA debate, our first one ever. Now I have the Public Relations Vice Presidential candidates. I have Peter Morgan over here to my right, and I have Lucas Stroop on my left. and they are going to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves, as well as their platform. And then I'm going to ask them some questions from our current public relations vice president and the audience. So Peter, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your platform.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Morgan. I am a current junior mathematics major with an actuarial science minor. So just like a little bit about myself, I'm from Connecticut, around 45 minutes away in Wolcott, Connecticut. And then currently here on campus, I'm involved as a Red Cap. So I do orientation. I've done it for the past 2 years. I'm currently an RA in E&F Complex, which is a lot of fun. I also do tours twice a week with the Red Key Society. And then I'm also involved in one of our a cappella groups. I'm in the all-male one, Hawkapella. That one's a lot of fun. You've probably seen us before. And then just like about my platform and why I'm running for Public Relations Vice President. So currently, we do have a Hawk Talk submission form, and I would like to introduce having a flyer submission form. So it's a lot of easier communication between our clubs and organizations with flyer submissions, because that can get very hectic. And having that submission form, it can get easily done quickly with that communication between the two. And going off one of what our Executive Vice President nominees mentioned, they said having Club of the Week and being in charge of all of the social media for student government, I can post in Hawk Talk and also on like stories and everything, the Club of the Week. And I really want to promote our clubs. We have such great clubs here, and I really want to promote a lot more of the accomplishments that they make. So if there's any type of accomplishment, feel free to email the Public Relations Vice President, and then we can definitely post on all the social media and in Hawk Talk. But yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Peter.
Hi, so my name is Lucas Strupa. I'm a freshman, going to be a sophomore of the University of Hartford. My major is mechanical engineering with a concentration in acoustics. A little bit about me: I was born in California. I'm a first-generation immigrant, so my parents actually moved over here from Germany, which is pretty cool. But now I live in Gloucester, Massachusetts, which is about an hour north of Boston. I'm involved in SGA on campus. I'm a Hawk Hall Senator. I am also going to be an RA next year. I'm currently joining a fraternity, the Theta Chi fraternity, Zeta Upsilon chapter. And I will also be an RA next year as well. I'm also part of the Outdoors Club, and if you have not gone to the Outdoors Club meetings, I would definitely advise it. It's a really good time, get some fresh air. Why I'm running for Public Relations Vice President? Well, I think that the Hawk Talks are definitely really important. I think people need to know what's going on campus. People need to be aware of what clubs are putting on, what events are putting on. So I want to be able to vocalize that even more. Find a way, even as Peter said, having like a flyer submission form that people can hand out, or even like an electronic form online that that clubs can fill out every week and then submit their answers, and that way you can get it organized what you want to put out. I also want to more vocalize what SGA does for the campus and for the clubs, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize what SGA exactly does and how much they put into making sure that clubs get the right budget and everything. So maybe opening up a discussion more on what SGA is currently doing and allowing the student body to relay that back and give more input. So opening up the campus, as one of the executive vice presidents or candidates also said, to opening SGA up more to the student body so we can get more input from them. And just kind of having the clubs work together with SGA as well as with each other, and really getting students more involved on campus, finding ways to involve them more with the clubs and organizations.
Thank you, Lucas. So now I have a situational question for you, Peter. As you know, Dance-a-thon is an event that your potential position would hold.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a lot of planning, and there's a lot that goes into it. And this year, Jenny was the only one who solely ran Dance-a-thon.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, if you were to get this position, how would you handle planning all of this? Have you thought out ideas for the next dance-a-thon?
So previous experience I have with planning different types of events. So 2 years ago, or actually last year, I was the Student Affairs Vice President Associate, and the Student Affairs Vice President puts on Midnight Mania, and as the associate, I had to help with coordinating the event, and I found that very stressful. And then going forward this past year, I helped create the bonfire that happened during October week. So I do have multiple experiences with coordinating events, and after doing the Midnight Mania one my sophomore year, I did feel that that was a lot to take on, but going forward with that and moving all of the previous experience I've learned with Dance-a-thon, I feel like I will have a lot to bring forward with planning that, because I did work with other people, but doing it alone, that will be very stressful. But having strong communication with your associate and having them help and not doing it all on your own, feeling free to go and ask the president and the other vice presidents to just help you out, because you don't have to do it alone. And you can ask other people for help if you are in that type of situation. And yeah, so that's what I have to say.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Lucas. So as you know, part of the public relations vice president position is to get all of the flyers from the clubs for any events, any meetings, any fundraisers that they're having. And you need to approve them and then send them back, right? What would you do in a situation where a flyer came through that the picture or the topic was kind of controversial? How would you handle this?
Yeah, so obviously we have a very diverse campus, a very diverse student body, which is awesome. We have so many different kinds of clubs. We have so many different multicultural clubs, sports clubs. We have Greek life on campus, all of that. And if a flyer did come through that was sort of not right for a specific like either group of people or might offend someone in a certain way, I would definitely just communicate that directly back to the club or the organization right away, as fast as I could, and just be like, hey, I noticed that there was this on your flyer. Is there a way you could change this, or can I take it out? Is there anything that like you can alter to make it more appropriate to the whole student body, so that nobody really felt offended by it or anything like that? And I think fast response and fast communication is definitely important. And obviously, if they were to say no, then you just can't put it up, because you don't want something going up that's going to potentially offend someone or cause problems between students. But definitely being flexible with the clubs and understanding where they're coming from, and then maybe giving your own input and giving suggestions on what may be more appropriate is how I would address the issue.
Awesome. So this was Peter and Lucas running for the Public Relations Vice President's position. Next, we're going to have the Student Affairs Vice President nominees coming up after this commercial break. Stick around. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the first ever SGA debate. Now I have the two Student Affairs Vice President nominees up here with me. I have Joe Perez and John Lameda. So they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves, a little bit about their past experience, and why they're running for this position. So why don't we start with Joe? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Perez. I'm currently a sophomore, secondary education major. I'm running for this position because I strive to make student involvement more enjoyable and make more campus activities, and overall, just have students more involved and make UHAR a place that everyone wants to be. Also, some past leadership experience. I've been in SGA for this entire school year. I've been in different committees, and I'm also an RA, so I have that under my belt, and I feel like I can use that to my advantage in this position. I also want to increase student involvement, have activities such as like field day, that's one idea, and also have like free t-shirts for everyone, because I know everyone loves free t-shirts, and that would also be a cool thing to do for everyone as a whole.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
Hi, so I'm John Lameda. I'm currently a freshman, second semester here. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm running for student affairs because I also want to make students involved on campus. I think more of the residential side needs to get more involved on campus, because as student affairs, we're more in charge of like trying to promote student life on campus. And I think, you know, college is supposed to be the 4 best years of your life. And I think more activities, the better. Mm-hmm. I want to continue the success that our current student affairs vice president has, which is Nicole. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So, Joe,
Yes.
as you know, we have a lot of clubs on campus. We have a lot of organizations. And really, there's always something to do, right? But what is one part of campus that you feel is really lacking that you could fix as student affairs?
I think one part that's really lacking in clubs and other organizations is diversity, and getting other types of organizations together and have more involvement as a whole, and not just have separate clubs have their own events, like their own, like it can be like a group type of event and have everyone involved as one. Yeah, definitely just get more involvement and make it more diverse as a whole.
Awesome. Nice. John, so as you know, student affairs involves a lot of planning, and one really big event that you plan is First Flight. So with this, you're working with a lot of different people. It's a lot of you connecting loose ends, right? Now the day comes and you're really excited. What do you do if one of your committee members gets hurt?
Like, can you like elaborate on that?
So say you are playing tug of war, and one of your committee members who is also playing along with you slices open his finger. What do you do?
I would inform a public safety officer, because there's obviously it's a big event, so I would think they would need security. And I guess that's it, yeah.
Nice, thank you. All right, so this has been the Student Affairs nominees, and next we will be having the Academic Vice President nominees, so stick around for that. Welcome back. If you're still with us, go you. I am here with the Academic Vice President nominees. I have Zoe Zimber and Liam Bernier, and now they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves, a little bit about their platform, and their past experience that they feel qualifies them for this position. So, Zoe, why don't you start?
Hi, I'm Zoe Zimber. I'm a current freshman from East Berlin, Connecticut. I am a special ed major while also working on a psych minor. So those that know me know that I'm highly involved on campus. I'm currently involved in SGA as a complex senator. I'm also in Delta Zeta as well as pep band, to name a few things. So through this, I've developed good time management skills. I've learned to effectively juggle my homework as well as my other obligations that I have. I've also learned through this how to appropriately talk to faculty members. So I'm very comfortable talking to those above me, whether it be staff or my teachers and stuff like that. As far as past leadership experiences that I have, during high school I was one of 5 student coordinators of our community service organization, which had roughly 300 students. So through this I had to make sure that the various members were completing their requirements and what they had to do. And I also took responsibility over organizing and coordinating many weekly events. So this included tutoring at the local elementary school and volunteering at the town food pantry. Also in high school I was on the board of Interact Club as a CCARC representative. As far as what I want to do on campus, I was on the OER panel, which is Open Educational Resources, which is kind of working towards getting students resources that are less expensive or free of cost towards them. So I'd like to continue this into next year, which I know is already sort of on the table. Another thing I would like to employ is that I have come to realize that not all students have a dialogue class. For me, dialogue was instrumental. It was a way that I got to learn about what's going on campus with my advisor. So it helped me make my schedule. It helped me learn about public safety and how to access them. It helped me learn about the library and what resources are there. But I also have friends that are, for example, in the Barney School that don't necessarily have a dialogue class. So I've had friends come up to me and was like, oh my gosh, do you have an advisor? And I was like, yeah, like I talk to her once a week. And they didn't know who theirs were. So I'd like to try to get something started so all students have access to a dialogue class. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Zoe. Liam?
Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Liam Bernier. I'm a sophomore. I'm double majoring in architecture and civil engineering. I'm running for this position because I feel like I'm well equipped to fulfill the responsibilities as academic vice president and would improve this position and academics as well as the community. In addition, academics has been always important to me. I've maintained a pretty high GPA throughout my high school career and college. So I have a passion for academics already, as well as my roommate Malcolm, who's chilling in Hawks Nest right now, shout out. So he's previously academic VP, so I saw his challenges, what he faced, and the processes that he went through, such as like AUC reform, which I would like to continue and refine that. So some of the leadership positions that I've held were 2 years on the SGA as senator for BComp and senator of CETA, which I've done a lot and been on like many committees, one of which I was also on Open Education Resources, OER, which is like a free alternative to textbooks like Zoe mentioned earlier, as well as most recently I've been drafting an environmental and sustainability master plan for the campus, working with a committee of faculty. So I've already been working with faculty, which will help me in faculty senate to push environmental sustainability as well as open education resource and AUC's reform, as well as other concerns such as curriculum. With the environmental and sustainability master plan, I would like to create environmental science majors, since we only have minors on campus, and that's a very important thing to have going into the future. So I'd like to put that out there. I've been a part of many committees such as Finance Committee, Public Relations, Engage, which is a new software to communicate between SGA and SCA with clubs, as well as Relay for Life, which is this Saturday, by the way, 4 to 8, so please come out. That'll be fun. I'm also an e-board on an e-board member on the American Institute of Architecture students, as well as I play Ultimate Frisbee on campus. So with this being said, I think I'll make a very good candidate for academic vice president. I would like to continue open education resource, refine the AUC reform committee, as well as create a diversity AUC, which I think is necessary considering what happened. But I would also like to continue work on environmental and sustainability and lead a motivated and successful academic committee, which I've been a part of.
Thank you, Liam. So Zoe, part of being the academic vice president, your duty is to go to Faculty Senate. And Faculty Senate is basically like our Senate, but with all faculty. And you have one from every school, one from every department. And sometimes they ask for your opinion as a representative of the student body. So say they were to ask you a question, knowing that you are once the only student in Faculty Senate, how would you handle it?
Well, as far as Faculty Senate is concerned, I'd make sure that my answer represents the entire student body. So I know a big part of the academic vice president is meeting not only with the deans of each school, but you also meet with people from each school. So we have school senators that I'd make sure to meet with and stay on top of things. So if I were to be asked a question in Faculty Senate, that I would make sure my answer wasn't biased or towards me, but it was actually representative of the school that it was asked on behalf of.
Thank you. Liam, so being if you were to be the academic vice president, you have the honor of choosing three projects that you would like to put money towards through a research grant. And so these are usually research projects. But say you got 4 ideas that were really amazing and you loved all 4 of them. What would you do?
That's tough. So I'd have to fill 3 spots, but I have 4 candidates. And so obviously I'm gonna have to make a fair decision and choose 3 of the best that I feel like. I'd probably have talked to my associate, make the fairest decision I can, the one that benefits the most students as well as the community and society. So I'd pick the top 3 most fairly, and which would make the most benefits. So, but that leaves 1 out, and I would try to help them on the side. Like I might give the 3 people who get the grants, but the last one I would help them start a club, point them to a club that can help them, or find a way for them to meet with like a faculty member and get their research done a different way.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for everyone for sticking around for this. You were able to meet the candidates of all of our e-board positions, vice presidential positions that were contested. So we are having elections next week, Monday to Wednesday, all day. They're going to be 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the SGA office, GSE 120, and 4 to 7 in Commons, and 8 to 10 in Hawks Nest. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed hearing everyone's views and platforms and being able to see all of your candidates. With that, I hope you go and vote next week, please. And just a message from STN that their website is down, so please, you'll be able to watch this on their YouTube channel, which is STN News Channel 2. I think I got that right. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I hope you have a great night.